Hello and welcome to Sergio University. Albert Einstein is supposed to have once said that if you can't explain something simply, then you don't understand it well enough. That's a very interesting quotation, and it somehow points out a problem with current education systems, especially higher education, but I guess it occurs everywhere, which is that very often lectures are not as transparent as they should about the relevance and the meaning of what is being taught. Nothing wrong is being said, and students are even able to learn by imitation to follow whatever procedure is being communicated, but they don't really get a deep feeling or understanding of what is happening there. You could teach someone to, for example, to solve quadratic equations by following a formula blindly, but still have no idea what a parabola is, of what the shape of the curve is, and what roots of a polynomial are, and in any deeper sense. It's just a formula, right? So if you find something that someone tells you, oh, this is a quadratic equation, then you turn on your automatic quadratic equation solving mode, and you spit out values which you have no idea what they are all about, what they mean, how people managed to find out that this could be solved in the general case, how is that important, how does that fit in the rest of mathematics, and so on. So I think what I'm trying to say is when you're learning something, it has to correspond to the real world in some way. It can't be just a self-contained babble whose main purpose is to pass exams. That's like killing the whole purpose of education when you let this happen. So in a sense, the simple way, I think, one way you could regard Einstein's quote is the simple story behind a deep truth has, you have to be able to articulate it if you really understand what you're talking about. Of course, that doesn't mean someone can explain quantum physics to someone else in 15 minutes. But someone who really gets it should be able to tell what the plot is about, right? So instead of saying, suppose you're trying to summarize Romeo and Juliet to someone, right? Shakespeare's work. And you read the story and you can answer questions about it, but suppose like someone asks you, tell me, so what is the story about? You can't summarize it in like in any meaningful way without really you can't do justice to Shakespeare in 13 seconds, right? But suppose someone asks you, what is it about? You could say, well, it's in Italy. Right, but what is it about? Oh, there's this guy called Romeo. Right. What is it about? This guy meets a girl and their families kind of don't like each other. Well, now that's a bit more like what is it about, but it's still kind of incomplete, right? It's part of the answer. So suppose someone presses you, but okay, but then what happens? And they say, oh, then there's this part where he goes to the balcony and talks to her, oh, and there's this other part where his cousin, I think, dies and he's very angry. Oh, you see, this is not answering the question. What is it about? So this kind of question is very important if we are to make sense of any piece of education that is presented to us. When you're having a math lecture or a physics lecture or a chemistry lecture, It should be very clear, both to the student and to the professor, what is it about, right? So I can't just start saying, oh, there's this theorem, and then there is also this lemma, and then there is also, oh, I'm going to show you this notation for this operator which computes this function, which was invented by this guy, and then that's the lecture for today. That is not good, right? That doesn't answer the question, what is it all about? So I guess this is probably a good answer or interpretation for what Einstein meant when he said, unless you can explain something simply, you don't understand it well enough. You must be answer, of course, not to communicate the whole truth about some deep physical theory in 15 minutes to someone. That's not realistic, but you should be able to let them have an idea of what it is all about, of what the plot is, right? Even if they don't know every detail. Why is it relevant? What is it trying to explain? Why should I care, right? Basically. So, in summary, that's the spirit and behind what I think great education should build upon, right? Great. So, of course, not every video I'm going to record is going to be very deep in meaning, but I hope that it makes sense. That's my main concern. I hope that anyone watching it will see this has a beginning, middle, an end, and however limited and small is the piece of knowledge which is being presented, it makes sense, right? It's not just stuff. I hope I am able to succeed.